I'm Dave Furst. Great to be joined by Taylor Kyle, the team manager here at Chip Ganassi Racing. Some 16 years in the NTT INDYCAR Series, just wrapping up his first year here at CGR as well. What is the most asked question you get when we get to this point of the season?
Oh man, I don't know.
I have an answer for you.
What is it?
What do you guys do in the off season?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you do in the off season?
We were just talking. I think the off season, in a lot of ways, is busier than in season. So you probably won't be able to see behind me, but we've got every department in the building working overtime. We've got body fits going on. We've got inventory. We've got general cleanup stuff.
Yeah.
But we're also, since the drop of the checkered flag in Laguna, we've been working on being better for 24. So there's a lot of development work happening in the background, and and also people are trying to get some time off, right? It's a busy season, so we're trying to balance, some time away with all the work that we need to get done, and it creates a busy time of year.
You throw in the holidays and all that, and St. Pete's going to be here before we know it, which is great.
For sure.
The countdown is on. Can't wait to get there. All right, let's talk about you a little bit.
Yep.
From the Indianapolis area, went to Indiana University. Mm-hmm. At what point did you think, hey, I want to be involved in racing?
Yeah, I think it was well before that. I grew up in a motorsports family, so for me, it was always the end destination. I just needed to figure out how to get there. So, everything else kind of took care of itself, and here we are. But it was something that I certainly thought about from a young age.
Your stepfather, of course, Mike Hull, longtime managing director here at Chip Ganassi Racing. When you approached him or he heard about this, did you think you're nuts? Because you probably got a little bit of the underbelly, what racing's all about.
Yeah, ironically enough, I hung around on the peripheral of this team for a long time when I was a little kid. So, growing up around motorsports in the early and mid 90s, watching this team have the relatively unprecedented success that it did in 96, 7, 8, 9, 2000 winning the Indy 500. Seeing that firsthand was really special for me, but it also kind of set the bar for what I expected racing to be. When I wanted to get into motorsport, this is obviously the place that I wanted to be, but he wasn't dismissive at all. He was very supportive, but his advice to me was go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Start at the bottom, start somewhere where you can do everything, and learn, and then the rest will take care of itself. So that's what we did.
Part of that is not only just learning what it's all about, but kind of being your own person before maybe you come back and step foot in the CGR shop.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And I was lucky enough to get into a situation where with Sam Schmidt on the Indy Lights program, that was my first job, and Chris Griffiths, really took me under his wing and mentored me, gave me tools. Like I didn't even have tools, right? It was very much they took a chance on me, but I like to think I repaid it, tenfold over the years, and certainly was a great opportunity for me.
When you came back into these doors as an employee of this team, and you think about, to your point, the list of drivers, the crew guys, the personnel that have walked through these hallways, it's a pretty impressive list, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's something I certainly took for granted as a young kid, just being around it. This was the expectation.
This was it. Right? You didn't know any better, right?
I didn't know any better, and then going out on my own and blazing my own path in motorsports, it was apparent very quickly that it's hard to win, right? So coming back here, you walk in the lobby and there's hundreds of trophies. The team's got over.
This is the best lobby in racing.
It's
unbelievable,
it's
right?
It's got to be, and it's so inspiring when you walk in to see all the success that's been here well before me and will be here well after me, and it's just my desire to try to just make sure that we're continuing on. With that legacy.
You've seen other shops. What the vibe, the atmosphere. What makes this place different, you think?
For me, it's pretty simple. Everybody in this building, there's a tremendous amount of pride, right? There's a tremendous amount of ownership. Everybody rallies around a common cause. There's not a lot of ego, right? So, when we have success or failure, everybody's in it together. The car, it's car builds, it's R&D, it's how we engineer the race cars, it's how we put process in place to manage all of that. It's very team focused, it's very unselfish, and everybody's in it together.
It wasn't day one on your job, but the first race of the season for you with Marcus Ericsson in the 8 car.
Yep.
You guys end up winning at St. Pete. How special was that?
It was huge. It was a weekend for me where my decision to come here from McLaren and having worked with Paddock for the last handful of years, the whole weekend started. We were in pit lane right next to each other. We were close all weekend on the time charts, and then we qualified next to each other and ultimately raced next to each other the whole race, right? And then for it to come down to more or less a shootout at the end there between the two, and then us coming out victorious with Marcus and our first race together, I thought it was pretty cool.
Probably a little surreal, right?
The universe or whatever you want to call it.
The karma?
Something, right?
Racing gods?
It was cool. It was cool, and it was, I was just happy that, we were able to take advantage of that moment and bring another victory home to CGR.
Yeah. And then you fast forward to the rest of the season. Obviously, what Alex Palou did for you guys was, he dominated pretty much every statistical category that's out there.
Yep.
And obviously, you got a front row seat for that.
Yep.
What's that like?
Special. It was very special. We keep going back to this, but there's been some really special seasons in the history of this race team.
Yep.
But taking another step back, we were this close to an Indy 500 win with Ericsson. We all know. How that unfolded at the end of that race, and being that close, in this company we have 2 goals. One's win the Indy 500, one's win the championship, right? So Indianapolis is special. We were very close, but then to watch Alex and Scott and Marcus and Marcus do what they did, I think an interesting fact that's not often discussed is we had 3 cars in the top 10 at every single race this year.
That's crazy.
You start to talk about the strength of the team.
Yep.
What Alex did and that 10-car group did, certainly was a fantastic season by any measure.
Yeah.
But CGR, the INDYCAR program as a whole, was super strong, and everybody did their part.
To that point, 15 titles now, INDYCAR Series championships, 3 of the last 4.
Yep.
This is, dare I say, this team's been around for a while now, but it continues to grow and build, and you guys are far from done, whatever that's going to look like in 20 years or whatever, How do you get there? What's the key here?
Well, I think the ethos in this company and on these race teams is selfless attitude. It's one team, one goal.
Yeah.
I think that's transferable from 2 cars in the INDYCAR series to 5 cars, or however many cars we want to run in IMSA or Extreme E or any of the other series that we run. Those core values are transferable. Excuse me. So, I think that path to success is already here. It's just a matter of execution.
Yeah.
And I think that we have and we have always had the tools and the resources that we need to compete. Chip, does a fantastic job giving everybody the tools that they need to win. So it's really just up to us without any excuses.
Yeah.
What the future holds, but I don't know yet. But I certainly know that we've got everything that we need to achieve our goals.
And last thing, one of the many things I love about this team is that Chip, this organization, is not afraid to bring in young guys and build towards whatever they can do in their own career. Linus Lundqvist, obviously the Indy Next champion from a couple years ago. What does a guy like Linus bring to the table for you guys?
Yeah, Linus for us, he represents the future in a lot of ways, along with Marcus and along with Kiffin.
Yep.
What Scott and Alex are doing today in the present is special, right? It's continuing that winning legacy and going out there and expecting to win every single weekend. For us, what we've got and Kiffin and Linus and Marcus is the future, right? So it's running every lap. It's learning from the 8 championships sitting across the table from you. It's being able to come in here without a ton of expectation and a ton of pressure. And just doing your job. And I think that, for us, and Linus specifically in his rookie year, man, what he did for Michael Shank and his team and those fill-in roles was really special. And ultimately, it put him square in the middle of our radar. So he's a fantastic kid. He's got a great work ethic, super humble, and a lot of talent. So I'm excited to see what he can do with all this resource.
I was going to bring up Kiffin Simpson too. Both of them, I can just imagine the engineering meetings. They look across the room, to your point.
No doubt.
And you got Alex Palou winning 2 championships, and Scott Dixon's won 6.
For
So
sure.
it's
For sure. It's like you
that's
think about
intimidation there.
You think about, like across the sports landscape. Could you imagine being a rookie quarterback in the Patriots quarterback room
Right.
for years when Tom Brady's sitting there doing his thing? You know,
Right.
there's a lot of parallels that you can draw across sports, but I mean, at the end of the day, we've got, you know, arguably 2 of the best drivers in the series, and one is legendary.
Yeah.
Right, and the other one's on his way. So, you know, you have to take all of that
Yeah.
into consideration when you're thinking about these young guys and what's going through their head on a race weekend, for sure.
This team continues to build. Obviously, you're a huge part of that. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Taylor
Appreciate it.
Kyle, NTT, meet the Paddock.